Cheryl and his people did a wonderful job.
They really, the parks, let me tell you something, if you don't get a chance to look at our tennis court, you would be pleasantly surprised what we have in Alexandria. And I wanted to speak to this weekend. I'm gonna wait till 5, but I'll do it now. That old misnomer, there's nothing to do in Alexandria, you dead wrong this weekend. If you couldn't find nothing to do this weekend in Alexandria, you weren't living. So I wish we would capture all the events that were going on, and it gives us another sense of urgency to get this Channel 4 up and running too, so we can recapture all of that excerpts from the events that took place this weekend. So hopefully by next meeting, I asked Mr. Gist and our city attorney, Mr. Johnson, to go to work so we can get these request proposals to get Channel 4 up and running. I think Mr. Molo wanted to say something. Mr. Chair.
I just wanted to add some recognition to the convention.
Excuse me, Mr. Molo, can you come to the podium, please?
It's a non-violent place, Mr. Johnson. Non-violence.
People don't want to see him.
That's true.
See who he is.
Chris Muller, the Great Alexandria Economic Development Authority. I also wanted to add that the Convention and Visitors Bureau played a vital part in having the services available for the teams of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And Coca-Cola, Mr. Bruce Ford, pitched in tremendously, along with Ms. Harris with the city and all of our other partners. It was a collaborative effort for us all.
Thank you. Mr. Chair. At the same time, I'd also like to add that there was a possibility that was presented to us that we might be able to, if our softball fields were in order, that we might be able to secure the softball tournament along with the tennis tournament next year. And there were some other tournaments that we might want to invest in, and some more facilities we might want to invest in to keep such events as SWAC, and there are other leagues that we might want to also look at. So, Ms. Harris, you got our support, and we'll work with you, and then between all of us together, I think we can make this happen. Alexandria is the place to be. Contrary to what some people say, that, as Myron says, some people say it's nothing to do. Alexandria is on the cutting edge on a lot of things. We have to maybe invest a little money into those particular areas of recreation that to make it happen, but we can make it happen.
Okay. Thank everybody except you, Trey.
Okay. I think I'm fixing to say something.
Yeah, well, let me get these out of the way. First one is I have an ordinance designating Jack M. Roy Mayor to act on behalf of the city in a matter pertaining to the capital outlay projects for Sugar House Road, Eddie Williams Boulevard to Highway 1, Phase 1 and Phase 2, including exclusions of the Carpet and Devil Agreement with the State Division of Administration and certified requests for the state disbursement. And it's an ordinance.
Second.
One second.
You know.
Mr. Lawson, second.
Okay. Okay, the second one is an ordinance designating Jack M. Roy Mayor to act on behalf of the city in all matters pertaining to the capital outlay project for the renovation of the Medical Business Incubator and Business Development Center, including execution of the Carpet and Devil Agreement with the Louisiana Division of Administration and certified requests for state disbursements. Need a second.
Second.
Okay, I have a resolution authorizing the City of Alexandria participation in the co-sponsorship for the bid with the Alexandria Pineville Convention and Visitors Bureau to host the Louisiana High School Athletic Association Girls State Softball Tournament in 2009 and 10, and to agree to certain funding and other obligation requirements. And I think Ms. Harris can kind of
hit a high note on it, a quick high note.
Thank you, Mr. Hobbs. That resolution is to give support to the CVB. Ms. Shanna Worth is going to actually submit a bid on behalf of the City of Alexandria for that Girls State Softball Tournament. Some of you can remember, we actually had that tournament a few years ago, and for the last few years, it's been held in Sulphur, Louisiana. So we're wanting to go back again and bid for that tournament. If we are lucky enough to be awarded the bid, it would be in April of '09. And in April of '10, but she is asking that the council support her, the city support her in her bid efforts to try to regain the tournament back in Alexandria.
Do they ever tell us why we didn't get the tournament? Because I know we.
Well, I think in the beginning, it was because of lodging. I was actually with Shanna when she went the last time, and they did not give us. Or exactly, and Mr. Moeller was there as well.
One of the comments was that that they wanted to give it to them because of the tragedy that they had experienced.
Correct.
That's what the reason.
That was the last.
It was not. It's no longer lodging. It was to.
Yeah.
It was to.
The hurricane.
In fact, it kind of understood that we probably would have
We
gotten it, but for the.
we had the best bid on paper.
But we've eliminated any questions, concerns.
Correct.
That's
We
why I
have
wanted
the
to make
lodging
sure.
now. We have the fields, all that is required. We have it now, but they did talk about Hurricane Rita in that area. So this is just to have your support for her to go down. And she also asked me to tell you, if you want to go with her with the bid, you're more than welcome to come down when she goes down for the bid.
I need a motion and a second. This is a resolution. Second. Moving second, refer to full council. Okay, the next item is the introduction of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement for professional and counseling service between the city of Alexandria and Maurice Moore for assisting the city in embarking on a set of major capital projects.
Second.
Okay, so moving second, refer to the full council. Okay, the next item is we need to get an update, and I think Mr. Gist is going to tell us the update on the scrap metal junkyard, however we want to call it, on Dallas Street.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Roosevelt Johnson, Mr. Myron Lawson have all directed staff, both myself and planning, including Mr. Branch, to look at the current situation involving one of our businesses. It appears from the past that business moved from a location on Lee Street to a location on Dallas. There were some issues and some complaints by churches and residents that the original business operation was not complying with, even though it was in a properly zoned area, it did not have a fence, it did not have, I think the front yard needed to have some improvements. From a historical standpoint, this was done when Darrell Williamson was the director of planning. The business operator did eventually comply and did secure his compliance certificate to operate what we call a junkyard. We understand that the gentleman and his operation has also now gone across the street approximately on Dallas. It came to the attention of planning. The planning department set out some of the enforcement personnel, notified the operator that he was not in compliance on the new lot. And apparently, according to several of the council members, they've received numerous complaints each from neighbors who recognize that there's scrap metal and other items that are just randomly on this piece of property. Planning advised us that they actually brought a lawsuit against the operation and intend to have the operation cease and desist. The gentleman has now been given 30 days to meet any and all requirements of law and ordinances. If he does not, the city attorney's office intends to proceed with the enforcement of our current ordinances and to the satisfaction of the citizens who have been in the neighborhood and have some questions. Specifically, even though a junkyard, as many other light industries, are permitted within the industrial classifications in our zoning laws, they are required to cooperate and to secure what's called a zoning certificate. The zoning certificate on those types of operations require both a solid fence barrier and a vegetation barrier, I believe, on the front of the properties. And this is something that our both the zoning board as well as the city administration has insisted on. At the present time, we understand that the planning department, Mr. Branch and his staff, are closely monitoring the situation almost on a day-to-day basis, as they also are receiving citizen input. With that, Mr. Johnson, I know you've had a number of people call you about
Right,
this.
Mr. Giss, and I just want to say to this council and this administration, this site has to be the most unsightly site in the history of the city. I mean, it is unbelievable the calls that we've gotten, Mr. Hobbs, because, I mean, it is absolutely unbelievable what's taking place. I think based on what you said, based on the law, based on what can be done, that this area can also be fenced in, not just at the front, but on the perimeters.
That is required.
You know,
and I believe it has to be very high, too.
Completely where it can't be seen. I mean, as of yesterday, this place was still in operation.
Today,
It's still in operation, and it needs to cease until so forth this city, and they can be in compliance of the law, because there's a lot of concern from that neighborhood, that community, Mr. Hobbs district. I mean, I think we should look into passing an ordinance to not permit that type of activity in our city.
Well, see, that's the problem. See, we've been doing the research, and Mrs. Smith might can remember back when they first moved on Dallas, I thought we had passed the ordinance that we couldn't locate no junkyards in the city. But we can't find it.
We need to institute it immediately.
I asked Mr. Giss to draft or something tonight to say that we don't want any junkyards within the city limits of Alexandria, scrap metal, whatever they is, and no expansion of junkyards, the existing ones in the city. We got to come up with something. And I think it's going to take all of our input to, what we want in the ordinance. But I think we can't get started here tonight with something, I thought we did.
I thought we did that.
I thought we did, but another thing about it, I thought that property was contamination, because they was told, I don't see how you got over there in the first place on the chicken poultry.
Mr.
When they
Branch.
tore that down, they had some contamination,
And in the
and they were
water,
going through the process. They didn't have to go through the process like
Groundwater.
we're doing with the Superfund site.
Well, it's
I don't understand how
it's
they
not a
started using it.
Superfund site, but Mr. Branch did tell me that one of the concerns his department has is there are some compliance issues with the groundwater and drainage, and the citizens are insisting that the property be used in a correct fashion, subject to the health and safety requirements of our existing code. Again, if the gentleman and his business does not get this property immediately into compliance, the city will need to take whatever steps are necessary. Mr. Johnson, the city attorney, has also indicated to us in our discussions yesterday when we discussed this with several of the council members individually and their concerns. Mr. Johnson has directed his staff to begin their work immediately. He also wanted to mention to the city council that if it is a required change to the zoning ordinances, it would first, under the current zoning laws, need to be submitted also to the city zoning board. That's a procedural step, and his staff is looking at that and to make the necessary recommendations so the ball can get rolling on that.
I'd like us to have a motion if we research and find that we don't have an appropriate ordinance on the book prohibiting any and all junkyards within the city limits of Alexandria. And of course, you have some exceptions that's tied to manufacturing or something of that nature. if they accumulate some scrap tied with the manufacturing. But if we don't have that ordinance, I'd like to see us go ahead and institute it immediately, and certainly by the next council meeting, that will prohibit this from happening again.
I don't quite think that's correct. You have your legal committee, zoning committee, making a study to see what can and cannot be done, make the suggestions. At the same time, do it all at one time, that'll preclude other things, and you'll have it done.
I think we can do it by next council is what I'm saying.
We
I don't
can,
disagree
we
with
can
you.
start the ball rolling to make them go ahead on and do their part. Yeah, what I'm saying, but he's correct, we could do a ordinance.
We'll certainly look at anything, and of course, we have to deal with, there's two issues. One issue deals with the, with current licensed establishments. The city attorney's office is researching what effects any artist would have on current existing licensed establishments which are in compliance. Obviously, if somebody's not in compliance, they're going to have to be closed down. If future business operations want to involve a junkyard, I gather that it's a consensus of some of you gentlemen that you would like to us to look at.
Simply put, no more junkyards.
Correct. We'll certainly take those into considerations.
So at this point,
Okay.
at this point, to get this ball rolling though, we can introduce some type of a ordinance authorizing the planning department.
You could, if you introduce something tonight and it's an ordinance, it cannot be discussed. It can just be introduced.
Right.
You could introduce a resolution. You could ask for a resolution.
What about a resolution then?
A resolution could be brought up and could be directed to the administration and the
Encourage
legal
the
department
development
to look at that.
I move for a
That could be done
resolution.
tonight,
Okay,
yes.
well,
Asking the administration to develop an ordinance to prohibit any and all future developments of junkyards within the city limits of Alexandria. I move.
and the expansion
And an expansion.
of the existing.
You got a second?
Right.
It's a resolution, man.
He just indicated that he wants to be sure we don't come up with something that might be contrary to what we did. So if they make a study, they eliminate that stuff, come back to the right act of a deal.
That's what we're asking.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Lawson's resolution would direct the city staff to do what is permitted by law and
Exactly.
regulations. And the spirit of the council being that it would prefer at this time.
And to come back with any ordinance or any appropriate language necessary to prohibit it. We're just asking them to do it. Good resolution. That's okay? On the hair?
That's much better.
Thank you.
I just have one question for consideration when you discussing the ordinance. And it has to do with existing salvage yards. If they have been grandfathered in from fencing in their area because it was before 1965. But if in doing expansion that they expanded on areas that were previously homes, the homes have been torn down and the lots are vacant. Okay, would that expansion be considered something new or still be considered grandfather where that place?
We're asking that we add
We
the
actually
caveat
got
for expansion in there.
Yeah, we're trying to knock out the expansion.
But I mean, they've already expanded into
Well, we can't
existing.
Future
No,
expansion.
future expansion where we should put it. We can't do nothing about the expansion at that point, but the future expansion. That's where we're trying.
And quite frankly, I think the public needs to weigh in on this, and maybe we need to have a public hearing. I don't think anybody's going to be advocating junkyards in the city, and I'm with you, Ms. Bright, the expansion of an existing junkyards ought to be prohibited as well. I agree with that. But it may be more of a legal issue, which I can't address because I'm not a lawyer.
I was talking about, the legal issue there, where the old one, where it was zoned for that.
That's what we got to get counsel on. I don't
And
know.
then if it was expanded into, I guess, private where they had homes or whatever, would that expansion be considered new or continuation of the old? Is what I'm trying to get a legal.
We're gonna need some counseling on that,
Well, I believe-
Ms. Squire.
And I believe, without going into any greater detail on this, that the current laws require a junkyard to have a fence and to meet
does.
certain other requirements.
Ring it.
And even if they expand, and they cannot expand into a residential area, they can only exist today in an area zoned industrial or light industrial. Now, that's not to say they can't change the zoning on a piece of property, but it has to go through that formal step. And even if they change the zoning, they still must meet the Section 26 requirements that Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Roosevelt Johnson have been concerned about, that this particular business on Dallas Street is not meeting at the present time.
My mother says I can't come here without saying something. We do have the same thing over in Lewis knows about the junkyard, body shop, and the junk car lots on the Bayou side of Enterprise on Stationer Street. I know that they are not in compliance because I've dealt with this for like 20 years. And, Kay, excuse me if I say wrong, but I understand in the budget, it was discussed that the code enforcement's going to be divided into different areas or expanded. One would be commercial, one would be residential that the guys would be taking care of. So I'd like you to consider that side of town too, and the possibility of there's a violation that they're supposed to have fences and stuff up that's not being done. There's cars parked along the bay, on top of the bay, out in the road. So that's just a little reminder if you want to work on that, maybe to include the ones that are already there established in the neighborhoods.
But I think what we're working at now, Ms. Underwood, is to make sure that we don't have any further expansion.
Yeah.
And once we get to that point where we don't have any further expansion, then, you know, code enforcement has to do their job. And, you know, that's something that we've been working on for a while. We've been working at that issue too.
And I understand,
you know, so,
but I just want to say that if you can include this in a new ordinance, that it needs to be looked into.
Yeah.
Because I know, like I said, I've been dealing with this for, well, I'm not going to give you my age. The same ones are getting away with the same things over there.
That's true.
And it is an older neighborhood, but I'm really, really working hard over there to get it cleaned up.
So the resolution is that we ask the administration to come back with an ordinance prohibiting future activity or the expansion of any future activity where legally possible. That's the intent. I call for the question.
All in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? Okay, we'll introduce it, we'll present it at the full council. Ms. Johnson, you're gonna be here a little bit. I done encroached into the big meeting, but he will let you speak. Is that okay? Okay, go ahead. You want to go ahead?
Good afternoon. I'm Lula Johnson, and this is Linda Bell. I'm president. She's the secretary of the Horseshoe Garden, Deerfield, and Quail Ridge Neighborhood Alliance. And administration and council, we're here today because we need your help for a proposed walking trail in our area. We've done all of the necessary footwork that y'all told us to do. And in July the 5th, 2007, we received the letter from Pan American Engineering, and as they looked at the area that we were looking at. And today we want to know where are y'all at on that project?
I think, if I can comment, Ms. Johnson, and I would like to just say briefly, I think at some of the neighborhood meetings, I think this has just come up. I think even the mayor have been present so far. This matter has been concerned. I think y'all brought forth some maps based on your concern for that particular area. And y'all have had a couple of public meetings, am I correct?
Yes.
Concerning that respective project. I think the mayor has reviewed it, and I would like to just, after my comments, like refer to the administration, because that's one of the things that we want to see. It come to the administration and come back to the council. I think this has been an ongoing project that y'all have been working on.
For 3 years.
For years, so, and me and the mayor have been present at those meetings, so Mayor, could you also comment on this matter?
First, I don't know what you just said.
Look, you know, I said it.
Can you say that one more time?
We're trying to start this meeting.
What I heard was a whole lot, and then a tennis racket. You talk about the swag tournament and a ball being hit to the administration. That's what it sounded like to me.
That's correct.
Mr. Johnson's always running, Miss Lily, you know that. We have had 2 meetings. We've had a meeting recently when we came back and did it, look at that issue. I think Tom, at the administration's request, went out and looked at how you might configure a walking area more in line with how Compton Park was set up than some of the other parks, and you'd have 2 roundabouts on each side where there would be parking. I think that is now a matter that has to just be, Ms. Johnson, a funding question that the council has to decide. They have to decide if this is one of the parks that wants to be funded versus others. There is a probably $3 million or so that we had set aside for recreational items. Those items have to be considered by the council in terms of which ones they want to do. There's a comprehensive park plan that Ms. Lisa Harris is about to allow to go to a specifically awarded person. There were RFQs sent out for that, and I think at this point the best thing to do is to submit it. I'm taking a guess and a hunch that these 3 gentlemen right over here are here about a skate park. Yes, sir.
I've never met him before, but I think there's probably a petition in his hands in that red folder. And so what I think people have to realize is there is limited funds. And right now, for everyone who would seek funding for new parks, we have to look first at making sure that our existing park structures are in place. That has been up to par. We talked a little bit about that today. We also have the specter of an issue of a tax reallocation hovering over us right now that disallows any consideration by the administration until that issue is dealt with for a new infrastructure build out of a park until that's resolved. It would be reckless of the administration to recommend building recreation items, new recreation items, other than that which is already in the chute. And I guess we would include the spray parks in that until we know what's going to happen. I think, Ms. Johnson, that we'll know a little more of that in the next month because the police jury is going to decide at the 1st of May, in the first couple of weeks of May, whether that's going to go to the people to vote on. But if the city of Alexandria were to lose $4 to $5 million a year, we're not going to be just talking about not doing a park like your request. We're going to be talking about scaling back recreational items of a general nature. So I'd be less than candid with you if I didn't tell you that we have to look at the reallocation issue first. We will have a responsibility once $4 million is cut to start cutting programming here. And the first things that have to go, of course, unfortunately, are going to be quality of life initiatives. So we are concerned about that. I also have to be candid with you and tell you that parks and those things of the nature you're requesting are in the capital side of the budget. This tax reallocation affects the operational side, but there's going to be some overlap with that. I think the park that they're proposing has been something that the neighborhood wants to see. I think it's a great neighborhood. It is a neighborhood that is full of great folks who have really always been very involved in their neighborhood and taken issues back. We've had a few presentations on the Bayou Roberts issues and so forth. The question that we've received about it is you would be doing a lot of park infrastructure build out in an area that's locked in one neighborhood. And so that was the only question. So, I feel like Mr. Hobbs, his district is larger and all of those considerations have to be there. Is this the best place to do a park for access from other surrounding areas?
I will say in the defense of Lula Johnson and her folks that there doesn't appear to be any other area in the district that would have the green space available to do what's been requested, unless you consider behind Martin Park. And the problem there is that a lot of those folks have already weighed in and said they don't want any more expansion in that area. In fact, there was a de-expansion of park activity, as you know, Mr. Hobbs, with the ball fields in that area. So these are all things that we need to know. Ms. Johnson sits on both, I think both neighborhood groups, so she can probably speak to what Martin Park would want too. I will also tell you one last thing that Cabrini has talked about. If we move toward any kind of revocation of part of Prescott Road, that issue is about to start going in neighborhood groups. There's also talk of some green space trade-off that could occur there that's in Mr. Hobbs' district. And it's significant, the amount of land. So I guess, Lou, I would say the first thing I would want to, excuse me, Ms. Johnson, I would say the first thing, I know Ms. Johnson is socially apart from all this, so you have to excuse that slide. I think that we would have to look at all of those issues first from the administration standpoint. If you want to recommend something different, we'll certainly follow it. Tax reallocation is the most important thing.
So the bottom line is, Mr. Hobbs?
Bottom line is they give them a month to see how the taxes that the police jury is proposing to cut from the city, which is an amount of $4 million, see if they're going to put it on the ballot or to be voted on. If they do, we're not going to be able to fund any parks, but we don't know what's going to happen right now. So the bottom line at this present is that we need to wait and see exactly what they're going to do. And if it never goes out to be voted on, then we can revisit this item in a month.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, Mr. Marshall, how is it coming along with the park, the trails you're trying to get?
That has been state funded, and we've got a little federal money from it, but that started out like in 2002.
Well, why not take your money and give it to us?
No, I can't do that.
So basically,
but really, I will support. I give you my word. I will support Mr. Hobbs. He has my support. If this thing goes through, and the administration can come with money. Well, if the administration, you know, we can find the money and we don't lose the $4 million, I can wholeheartedly support Mr. Hobbs and his efforts.
If Ms. Johnson, if the folks are really ready and y'all have looked at what Mr. David's done and that's the plan you want, if y'all will talk to the Martin Park folks and tell us that jointly both neighborhood groups support this, so that we're not going to have someone come behind and say, well, wait a minute, you locked it behind. You understand behind Deerfield, it is somewhat locked out of the rest. Imagine you're going down a horseshoe and it's behind. So the only complaint we've received, but it's legitimate, Ms. Johnson, is that you're locking a park away from access from other places. But that's part of, you know, I guess somebody could argue that about anything, but if you think where the other parks are, they all have multiple access routes. If you would certify that both groups are in support of it, certainly, gentlemen, we can start ramping up, looking at this process before, regardless of the tax reallocation issue. I mean, we have staff available, Mr. White and others who look for grants. But we would want you to do that anyway. We would want any new park to look for every grant opportunity. Just as the walking trail has some state matching money, we would want to do that. And typically through CRT, Cultural, Recreation, and Tourism with Ms. Landrew's office, and transportation enhancement funds, there are ways to get that. And if you want a commitment from the administration that will now assign a staff person to work with you on this issue, you got that commitment right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Welcome.
Any other business? This meeting is adjourned.
We might as well keep rolling.
Chief of Staff just tried to steal my joke. I was waiting for you to talk to me about this.
The invocation and the pledge, Mr. Silver.
Father God, we thank you once again for this city council, this mayor. We ask you to bless upon this session tonight, that it be what you want it to be, to give us guidance, give us the wisdom and understanding. We thank you now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Boy. Number 17.
Yeah, I got it.
We got the number 4. They don't want it all.
They want to know what it was for.
I know it's missing.
Phone's not here. Oh, never mind, excuse me.
I know it's the document was missing.
Okay. We're going to do the roll calls.
Mr. Lawson.
Certainly.
Mr. Fowler.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Present.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Silver. Mr. Hobbs.
Present.
Mr. Marshall.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Okay, gentlemen, can look through the consent calendar.
Administration request number 17 be delayed.
Forward to the personnel you've been looking.
In Public Works.
Go ahead and send it. No more personnel.
Just 17, it's, Mr. Beard, Chief Beard, he may be wanting to do something else, so we may change that appointment. I'm going to leave that up to Chief Beard, what he wants to do. I guess it's a resolution, so we can talk about it, even though it's on the, because it's on consent. So if you would just...
We're just delaying.
You just delay it and we just go.
Well, I didn't want the public to wonder why. It's at his request and discussion.
Okay.
I'd like to send them a fire to public safety.
Move for remain.
Second. Moved by Mr. Lawson, second by Mr. Fowler. Favor?
I would have sent number 6 just to get an understanding of it.
I'll amend my motion to include 6, and I think second motion acquiesced as well.
6 to
Putting words in my mouth.
Economic development anyway. I just want to hear about it.
Okay.
Carry it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Ordinances for final adoption subject to a public hearing. Number 22, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the low bid submitted for Prox Cord access system for lobby doors at City Hall, gates and turnstiles at the compound, lobby doors at the administration building at the compound, and optional future jobs at other facilities.
Moved by Mr. Fowler, second by Mr. Johnson. Question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 23 is delayed.
It's delayed, but I'd like to take it a step further than that if we could. It's continued on a delayed basis, but ask the administration, I think there were some other thoughts about this particular thing that's come up. Let's give them a little time to put something together and come back to us to talk about using the alluvial water aquifer, because there may be some options other than that. And I think it'll take them, 4 to 6 weeks to...
Yes, sir. We were hoping that you would entertain a motion, Mr. Fowler, to move and have it referred back to the administration for more work. I'm concerned about pulling it because of some of your rules that it could delay it for up to 6 months, but I don't want to keep delaying it and having it pop up on your calendar. So if maybe you could move.
Okay, I'll make a motion to that effect.
A second motion.
Motion second that we
refer it back to administration.
Refer it back to the administration. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'd love somebody eventually to tell me where we are with our aquifers. I came here and I understand we were hitting salt when I first got on the council.
That's what we're doing, Mr. Lawson. It's been a treat to live. There are two schools that thought about what we need to be doing, and believe me, each camp is set for war, so we want to get it back and look at it.
Item number 24, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the lowest quote received from Kane's Fence Company for labor and materials to install 5 chain link backstops for the Johnny Downs Recreation Complex.
Moved by Mr. Fowler.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hobbs. Question?
I want to amend that to W.O. Hall.
Second amendment to include, I thought you were including that.
W.O.
Need to
Hall.
amend it.
Okay, I second include the backstop at W Hall. Fence.
Let's have a brief word about the Johnny Downs.
Need to go to the podium.
Could you come to the...
W.O. Hall.
W.O. Hall Park.
I'm not going to be long. My name is Houston Rax. I'm from 3703 6th Street. And what I wanted to say, I'm a born-again Christian, okay? And I wanted to say to everybody, God sees no color. But like I was saying about the ballpark, okay, y'all gonna fix up Johnny Downs again. It's already beautified. I don't know what more it needs out there, okay? All right, so once again, I'm coming up here about Hunter Park. What are y'all guys gonna do? It needs to be renovated. Let me say this part. When I was 7 years old, that's when I started my baseball career. Right there at Hunter Park. So that should let you know how old that park is. Okay? What I'm trying to say to y'all is this. We want the same thing for our youth in our neighborhoods as y'all want for y'all, young people. Okay? That's the point I'm trying to make. I've been coaching, and I'm gonna stop right here. I coached 5 years in the Alexandria Little League. I went in my pocket, and I'm not trying to brag about this, bought gloves for the kids. I let it go after this year, last year. But we want y'all, before you talk about I'm gonna wait for y'all.
Mr. Rax, right now, what we're trying to do, although you're giving your speech now, is we're trying to add other backstops to ensure that that's the whole purpose of Mr. Smith's motion. So we're trying to do that.
Mayor, what I'm saying is this. This is why I don't come up here. I don't come up here smiling with nobody. I'm not trying to be on television. I can tell you that's the last thing I'm gonna do. This is what we want. We want the Hunter Park area renovated, redone. We want new stuff for our kids. Okay? This is what I'm stressing to y'all now. Y'all can ignore this. Okay? If you want to. I'm gonna stop again. Mayor, but do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir, I hear what you're saying. I know it's also kind of a political speech at this time because of a candidate, and we're trying to resolve this problem right now. We're trying to do the city's business. We really are.
That's towards me if I'm talking.
But I understand that, but we have to carry on business and make sure that we get this straight, Mr. Rax.
Okay. Well, I want something done, guys. My councilman.
Mr. Rax,
Let us finish this part of the meeting, and then there's a part for the public to come up for comments.
Now, let me say something. Wait, let's clear this up. Mr. Dupont is serving on the committee, on the recreation committee, and he was showing me some drawings like that. We'll ask them to come back with a recommendation on those things and give it to the mayor, and then we'll work these things out. That's the reason why the mayor and the council, you formed that recreation committee. Mr. Sibley's on there, isn't he?
Yes.
He's on? Yeah. And we ask you all to look in to see what needs to be done and what's happening. So what you were showing me.
May I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Good evening, Council, Mayor. I apologize, Mr. Ranks, but I was here for that very same reason. when they received the money from Fast Track, they actually draw up something for Franklin Hunts Park. And if you notice here, we're in the process of working toward building some new ballparks in Hunts Park, T-ball field. I placed on here an air conditioner in the gym. Now we have 2 air conditioners in the gym. Also drew up a walking trail around there. And there's a safety violation on Sundays. A lot of vehicles coming through there, no way out. So we're talking about putting some roads in there, cutting another road to eliminate some accidents from happening. But we're in the process, Mr. Ranks, of doing something to enhance the quality of life for our young people in that area. And I got to draw it up. I talked to Mr. Smith already. I showed it to the mayor earlier, sometime ago when he first, I got the word that Fast Track has some money for our area. Man, I checked out of school, Alexandria Senior High School. I said, I need to go to City Hall. And I was here when they made that announcement. And I immediately drew up some little plans. You want to look at it, for Ranks? I'll let you see it. And we're trying to work on this. It takes a little time sometimes when you're doing things. I was glad to know that y'all get ready to do a road because we're on 20 acres on Sugar House Road. I lose that home in Point Mission Association. And that's going to really help us to do some things in that area. So that's why I was here tonight, just to make, see where we were with Fast Track.
Yes,
Mayor.
And I appreciate that, Reverend Dupar. And just for the record, this administration, this current administration, Mr. Rax, brought every ballpark team, which includes Dixie, Alexandria Little League, and all others, up to parity, which had never existed. In fact, some folks weren't even receiving money. We are very mindful of ensuring that all folks, all children in this city get to share in the economic benefits of Alexandria. That is something that I personally believe in very strongly. And so we took all the different teams and organizations and raised them to significant monies from it's about $12,500, maybe as high as $14,500. $12,500 last year.
$14,500
for all.
Some tell me you're about to.
He's going to accept.
Some tell me you're about to.
Acceptance. But all teams received that, and that hadn't happened before.
No.
We also are about to implement a plan for maintenance of the parks in the same manner as Compton Park and every other park, which has not occurred in the past. The only reason it didn't happen sooner was at the request of Director Lawson. When Alfred came on board, Alfred asked council to have the opportunity to keep in-house certain parks. I think that Alfred's heart is in the right place, but he is working his tail off trying to get everything straight with all the games and so forth on the weekends. And so at this point, we talked in staff this week, Ms. Lawson has recommended that we go ahead and let that be bid out and companies do it just like Compton Park over in Charles Park, Mr. Rax. All the other parks in this city would be treated the same way. And finally, with regard to Fraco Hunter Park, this administration immediately came in, identified some things that needed to happen. When I learned that there was no air conditioning at all, we immediately acted on that. So that's what this administration has done instead of just talking about it.
Yeah.
I just wanted the record to be clear about that.
Because this was 2 years ago when I drew this up, and I placed on the bottom that the fields be maintained the same way they'll be maintained out on 28. And that's what I made a notation. And it's the same thing with on Masonic Drive, that these fields be kept up and well protected for our kids, for safety. And I had this, if you want to look at it, I drew this up 2 years ago. I still hold on to it. I showed it to the mayor, and Brother Smith saw it earlier. But that's why I was here tonight. I put aside my baseball practice, my T-ball practice, be up here tonight. But they're working on some things, and I hope it becomes a reality pretty soon. But I know it takes a little while. It don't happen overnight. But we're asking that you look at some of these things. And I was hoping Mr. Floyd Hamilton would be here because I put a tennis court way back in the back, along with a swimming pool. So I don't like that spray stuff. That's for little kids. My pool on Jones Street, man, that's where I learned to swim at. And it bothered me when I was walking on that walking track and I saw those guys spilling that pool in. And I was wondering why, and they said the pumps were gone. Well, during being a military guy, we used to do cost studies. And I got pictures, I did a cost study. It cost over $200,000 to fill that pool in with the main power and the fuel that we used and all the stuff, that material used to fill it back up. It cost a lot of money. We could have got the pumps fixed, we could have had my pool working.
Thank you. I want to get Mr. Gibson to read the amendment.
Mr. Smith has an amendment to item 24.
To item 24?
Yes, to
I thought we voted on the amendment.
We just kind of lock it in right now.
You didn't vote yet.
We haven't voted on it.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
The amendment by Mr. Smith would be to authorize the mayor to accept the lowest quote received from Kane's Fence for labor and materials and to install 6 change link backstops for the Johnny Downs Recreational Complex and 1 for the W Hall ball field. And that would be $2,250 for the additional backstop. That's what the cost is. It will be within the proposal received from the bidder, and we can do that with an amendment. It's germane to the issue.
Now, wasn't the concern, was that concern addressed about the height, Mr. Smith? You had a concern about that?
Drop, Joe.
Despino knows
You know
more
what
about
I tell you about when they foul the ball, it would go in a canal. I asked you about putting that.
We'll have to come back and do that as an add-on. I'll have to do an additional quote to cover that. The bid that we put out did not cover the apron that goes across the top of the backstops, the restricted backstop. But I will take care of the new quote for it. We'll be done.
Okay.
And for Mr. Dupar and others interested, this will just be done now. The other program that we're working on, we look at later.
I move for the amendment.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Fowler, second by Mr. Smith. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
You need to vote on the original motion as amended.
We need to vote on the original motion as amended.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 25, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the Alexandria Police Department to receive additional funds from Louisiana Highway Safety Commission.
Moved by Mr. Fowler.
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 26, to consider final adoption of an ordinance amending 0708 operating budget for the Alexandria Riverfront Center.
Moved by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Johnson. Question?
How we coming along, Sherry, with the little thing like they have in New Orleans, the television? We talked about that displaying events and...
We're putting a request for that, as I understand the process, it's in the process of being approved.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 27, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to make emergency repairs and authorize purchases to repair a 30-inch force main failure at the intersection of Broadway Avenue and Jones Street.
Moved by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Johnson. Question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 28, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a professional services agreement with Barron, Heimberg, and Bricata for the warehouse and office improvements project at the Electric Distribution Department.
Moved by Mr. Hobbs. Second by Mr. Silver. Question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 29, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a professional services agreement with Monceau Buller and Associates for design and construction inspection services for a proposed vehicle washing facility at the Electric Distribution Department.
Moved by Mr. Johnson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 30, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to amend the grant agreement with the State of Louisiana Department of Health and Hospitals, Office of Mental Health, and the city to fund the crisis intervention team.
Moved by Mr. Smith. Second by Mr. Hobbs. Question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 31, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a professional services agreement with DPS Financial Resources and Solutions for bookkeeping and tax service for the Alexandria Festival Association.
Moved by Mr. Smith.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hobbs. Question? All in favor? Motion carries.
Mr. Marshall,
Yes, sir.
we'd just like to let y'all know that that is a minority business enterprise. It's one of the businesses under the program that Ms. Jennings is running. Just letting y'all know.
Oh, thank you.
Number 32, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an intergovernmental agreement for economic development with the GATA Authority to promote and host the 2008 Southwestern Athletic Conference Tennis Tournament, April 17th through the 20th.
Moved by Mr. Hobbs, second by Mr. Smith. Question? All in favor? Opposed?
I abstain.
Motion carries.
Number 33, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the GATA for the promotion of the 2008 Barbecued Festival Queuing on the Red, held March 14th through the 15th of '08.
Moved by Mr. Lawson,
Second.
second by Mr. Hobbs. The question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 34, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with B.R. Collins Construction for the development of single-family affordable housing units.
Moved by Mr. Lawson, second by Mr. Smith. Question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Let the record reflect out of state.
Okay.
Y'all don't see this thing.
Okay. Number 35, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with Standard Enterprise for the development of 36 single-family rental housing units.
Moved by Mr. Smith,
Second.
second by Mr. Hobbs. Question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 36, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing acceptance of a subdivision plat for Alexandria Industrial Park, fourth filing lots 1 and 2.
Moved by Mr. Fowler, second by Mr. Hobbs. Question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 37, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing acceptance of street and drainage improvements for St. Andrews Links Estates Phase 3.
Moved by Mr. Lawson. Second by Mr. Silver. Question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 38, to consider final adoption of an ordinance annexing a parcel or tract of land containing an area of 9.62 acres consisting of lots 25, 26, 27, and 28 of Block A of Woodlawn subdivision and the adjacent parcel located in sections 18 and 19 of T4N R1W Enterprise Road subdivision and a portion of the right-of-way of Enterprise Road containing 2.34 acres.
Moved by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Hobbs. Question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 39, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the lowest quote received for janitorial services for the cleaning of the Main Street A-Trans bus terminal.
Moved by Mr. Smith. Second by Mr. Hobbs. Question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 40, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the lowest quote received for janitorial services for the cleaning of transit buses and passenger transit vans for the bus department.
Moved by Mr. Smith. Second by Mr. Fowler. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 41, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the lowest quote received for ready-mix concrete for use by various city departments.
Moved by Mr. Fowler, second by Mr. Lawson. Question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 42, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the lowest quote received for hydrochloric acid for the electric production department.
Moved by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Hobbs. Question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 43, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the lowest quote received for hydrogen for use at DG Hunter Power Plant.
Moved by Mr. Fowler. Second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 44, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to renew the existing contract for annual uniform bid on a month-to-month basis for a period of up to 12 months.
Moved by Mr. Fowler.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hobbs. Question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 45, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Alexandria Metropolitan Foundation.
Moved by Mr. Hobbs. Second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 46, to consider final adoption of an ordinance amending the CDBG program budget.
Moved by Mr. Hobbs.
Second.
Second by Mr. Fowler. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
47, to consider final adoption of an ordinance amending the home investment program budget.
Moved by Mr. Fowler, second by Mr. Lawson. Second everything we did that. Second by Mr. Smith.
Do a DNA test over here.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 48, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a temporary staffing agreement with any and all temporary staffing agencies to provide temporary personnel to perform work for the city.
Is this a temporary ordinance?
Moved by Mr. Fowler, second by Mr. Johnson.
Question.
Is there a question?
Is there a question in there somewhere?
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 49, to consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a facilities agreement with the Rapids Exploratory Education Treehouse.
Moved by Mr. Hobbs, second by Mr. Fowler. Question, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 50, to consider final adoption of an ordinance adopting the operating budget for the City of Alexandria for fiscal year 08-09 to make appropriations for the ordinary expenses of all city divisions, departments, offices, and agencies, pensions, and otherwise providing with respect to the expenditures of appropriations, adopting the capital budget for the City of Alexandria for fiscal year 08-09, and providing for capital expenditures.
Moved by Mr. Lawson, second by Mr. Fowler.
The administration has one amendment. One second.
It's a secret meeting.
It's just temporary, don't worry about it.
The administration has one amendment that they wanted to bring up, and it's to add $100,000 for expenditures, and it's from the capital budget, and it's expenditures in conjunction with a proposed cooperative endeavor with LSUA and the Alexandria Metropolitan Foundation that would be utilized to do improvements at our facility at what y'all call the Jakes Building. We're in the process of working out, we haven't submitted that contract, but there's an agreement in principle with LSU. And the administration would ask that the budget be amended in that respect.
Took a lap of Mr. Fowler.
And those would be the only amendments that we would have, Mr. Lewis, Marshall.
It's been moved by Mr. Fowler, seconded by Mr. Lawson. For the amendment,
Go for the amendment.
discussion.
Did you ask for a vote?
I'm asking for a vote.
I didn't hear you.
Opposed?
As amended.
As amended. Now back to the original motion.
As amended.
As amended.
Favor?
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we go for a public hearing.
Item number 51, to continue public hearing on structures located at 1802 Elliott, 723 Woodard.
You got the floor, man.
Mayor, done with community development. A couple of continues. I'd like to, 1802 Elliott Street, want to continue until June 17th, 08.
Moved by Mr. Fowler, second by Mr. Hobbs. We'll just go on, if y'all don't mind, we'll do it all at one time.
Okay. We have a couple of
Yeah.
different, and then until we get down,
because you got Woodard Street, right?
yes, sir. Got Woodard Street is July 15th.
Okay.
Different days.
There's 2 items on the
Different
calendar.
days.
Both of those on 51.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Fowler, second by Mr. Hobbs. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, item number 52 is to hold a public hearing on the condemnation of 10 structures.
Can we do all of these at one time, Nancy?
The ones that are condemned.
10. What you
Yeah.
can do to 8.
Do the ones condemned.
17 Baldwin Street, like for it to be removed of improper service on it.
That's what
Okay, we got a vote on
Second.
Moved by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Fowler.
Was to remove. Be taken out.
That for to be removed. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
At 64 Eastwood, I'd like to continue to May 20th, 08 for the owner to provide documentation for the duty repairs.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Fowler, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor?
All the rest of them.
All the rest of them condemnation, so we can go on, we'll vote on all of those at one
Yeah,
time.
let him call out the
Have to
addresses.
have the addresses.
Okay.
Anybody?
3417 Baldwin, 1239 Elliott, 3516 Keys, 3814 Lincoln Road, 2614 Overton, 2607 Overton.
So 2907 or
2907?
29, I'm sorry, 2907.
Okay, is anybody here from any of those properties? I'll move for condemnation.
Then we have a couple of with,
What? Oh, we move.
WP.
I need a second. Second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. President, I was going to represent the owners of the next 2 pieces of property. One at 1800 Day Street belonging to Doris. I was properly served and she was properly notified. And 1975 Overton, James E. Wallace, I was properly served and they were properly notified.
Anybody from those properties?
Anybody?
They both in condemnation?
Yes.
I so move.
Moved by Mr. Fowler, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. This public hearing is now closed. Committees?
Public safety. Finance Committee, Mr. Lawson.
No report.
Public Works, Mr. Silver. Legal Committee, Mr. Hobbs.
Okay, I have an ordinance designated by the mayor on behalf of the city. Trying to shorten it down. Matters pertaining to capital outlay projects, the medical, business incubator, and business development center.
Moved by second by Mr. Fowler. All in favor?
That's order, right?
That's all it is.
Move for introduction.
You sure you got us right that time?
Next one is asking the mayor on behalf of the city. It's a capital outlay project of Sugar House Road and Willow Glen, Highway 1, Phase 1 and 2.
Moved by Mr. Lawson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith.
Okay.
This in the legal.
It's the introduction of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement for professional and consulting service with Maurice Moore.
Move. Second. Moved by Mr. Lawson, second by Mr. Smith.
Okay, the next one is a resolution authorizing the mayor to participate in the co-sponsorship for the bid for the Alexandria Pineville Conventions and Visitor Bureau to host the Louisiana High School Athletic Association Girls State Softball Tournament for 2009-10.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Fowler, second by Mr. Lawson.
All in favor?
All in favor? Opposed?
Motion carries.
Yeah, motion carries.
Okay, the next one is a resolution to direct administration to prohibit any and all future development of junkyards within the city of Alexandria limits and any further expansion.
Future expansion.
Second.
Read it right there.
We got it.
Administration to come back with an ordinance.
Okay, and for the administration to come back with an ordinance.
Moved by Mr. Lawson, second by Mr. Fowler.
All in
All in
favor?
favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Got two people cheering.
Oh, shit.
Utility Committee, Mr. Johnson. Community Development, Mr. Hobbs. Personnel Insurance, Mr. Johnson. Public Safety, Mr. Johnson.
I guess I have a resolution concerning fuel cost increases and confirming the city's intention to execute an agreement with IESI for municipal solid waste transfer and otherwise pertaining thereto.
Second. Moved by Mr. Lawson, second by Mr. Fowler. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Carries.
A&E Review, Mr. Silver. Economic Development, Mr. Lawson.
I just want to say, I get a lot of questions throughout the week. And the questions are, what's this or what's that, what's going up here? And a lot of people are questioning what's going up, for instance, across from Kroger's. And I don't know if it's public yet, but I'm hoping with Mr. Hess' help, along with the administration, that we'll be able to answer a lot of questions like that. And what's the other major retail outlet that's going to be located down 28 West that most people don't know about? I'm hoping we can give at least 10 minutes, the 15 minutes every month where we can answer some of those what's going here, what's going that questions. And we'll do it in public.
We can
On the right to. So as soon as we know, maybe we'll let the public know.
We may have something.
Okay.
Let Rod come in and do it on Wednesday morning.
That's right. Let Rod do a pre-show. That's it.
Okay. Next, any other business? And I'd like to, let's see, we got Mr. Ben Holt. Would you come to the podium, please? And you, hey man, don't let Ben hang out by himself up there, fella. Come on, give him some support. Show him some love, man.
Yeah, the coolest cats I've seen, I tell you.
My name is Ben Holt. I'm 14 years old, and I live on Elliott Street in Mr. Silver's district. My friends and I are here to ask the city to consider putting in a skate park as part of our parks and recreational. Some facts about skateboarding. Skateboarders used to be seen as rebellious teenagers that are on the fringe of society. This stereotype is no longer true. 1 in 6 teenagers skate regularly. Skateboarders can range in age from 8 to 50. 96% of skaters are between the ages of 10 and 24. As you can see, skateboarding is an essential option for a huge percentage of today's youth. Due to the popularity of skateboarding, it is not surprising that many cities in the U.S. have at least 1 or 2 skate parks or places to skate. There are 2,000 operational skate parks in the U.S. right now. Skate parks have even become a legitimate design specialty for architects. In Louisiana, there are approximately 14 operating skate parks, and at least 3 of those parks are public. Some good things about skateboarding are Skateboarding crosses socioeconomic lines. You can go into any part of town and see kids skateboarding. They can range in price from around $9 to over $200, so it's just about anybody can buy one. Skateboard parks help with obesity rates. Skateboarding is great exercise. Skateboard parks will help with juvenile delinquency because skate parks give kids a safe, inexpensive, positive outlet for their energy. This is why we think Alexandria needs a skate park. Right now, kids in Alexandria skate wherever they can. Well, there's no skate park, so we just go wherever we can on the streets, public property, private property, schools, and we'll just skate there until we get run off.
Ben, since skateboarding is good exercise, you think maybe the council, they should take that up?
That's right.
We would much rather skate in a safe, designated skatable area. The closest skate park, is in Lafayette, and it is privately owned. A lot of skaters can't afford to drive down to Lafayette and pay to skate there. In conclusion, skate parks can range in size from about 3,000 to 40,000 square feet. There are many resources available to communities looking into building a skate park, and it is our hope that Alexandria will be one of those communities.
Ben, tell you what, you got my support, okay? If any of you think that there's this is not just a passing fad, I challenge you to go over in any afternoon over to our public parking garage over there. You will see young folks skateboarding. Don't hear it. I work over there and I don't hear any profanity. It's a bunch of good kids out there just enjoying skateboarding. And personally, I'd rather see us put them in a safer place to skateboard on than the public parking garage, because sometimes they have to dodge cars. And that's no fun either. But, and the streets is no fun either. So, if we can find somewhere in the mix to do something with that, and I think, Kay, you and I have discussed it too numerous times, but I wanted to put a face with the skateboard park, because these are kids that could be out doing something else. Not every kid in Alexandria plays baseball or football or basketball. There are other sports. This is another sport. So, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Good research, too.
We got some of those guys.
I didn't break the skateboard.
No matter what, he didn't break his skateboard.
He didn't tell me how he broke it, he just said it was.
No, listen.
I want to say something real quick. I did meet with Ben and his mom, and he's a really respectful, nice young man. And I wanted to tell, and I told Ben that I am working on trying to get a free demo park here for the summer. They will come in and they will cover liability, all of that. The kids have to sign a waiver. Won't be any issue on the city, and it doesn't cost us anything. And we're not committed with that company to buy from them. But this is just to see the interest in the area, and just to kind of give them a taste of it. And I talked with Ben, and we shared, and we looked at some plans. Actually, skate parks are cheaper than I thought. So we talked and had a good meeting, and so hopefully we'll be able to work something out. But I just wanted to tell them we're pretty close to getting that, and I'll announce the date whenever they can come for a free demo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am.
I got. Okay, right. Michael Graves. Right. Okay, Michael Graves.
Mr. President, Council, Mayor, thank you for your time. I come standing in front of you holding a request, asking for help and support, which I've been doing for the past 2 months. I started off with 6, 10, and 11-year-old girls, 5 girls and 1 boy from Horseshoe Elementary School that was nominated to go to the 2008 Junior National Leadership Conference in Washington, D.C. Along with this packet has a schedule which is 6 nights and 5 days, where they're not just taking a tour through Washington, D.C., but actually going through conferences held by congressmen and assistants and state representatives there in Washington, D.C. It is a $1,934 tuition fee, tuition only. I have raised the money for 3. I have $600 on hand and about $400 promised tomorrow to send one more. And I do see faces in here that have already given. I've raised gulags of money for Little League sports. But this here has brought me to another passion because my daughter asked me at 10 years old, and I'll say this, I used to wait for the winter time for the swimming pools to dry out in California so we in the swimming pools. They need a park. My 10-year-old daughter asked me, say, Daddy, if I go to the White House at 10, what am I supposed to do at 21? I said, anything you want, Mama. She said, I guess I should be working in the White House. Well, that's when I got behind this. And now I'm coming as a last resort because I have done fundraisers and I've hit doors and people, business. I need the rest of the money to send this 3rd child. She not only is a 10-year-old, but she is an evacuee from Katrina, a single mother who has also helped in raising money, and because of being out of contact with her family, she's only received $250 by mail. If there's anything whatsoever, and again, this is just for their tuition. I'm going to transport them back and forth myself. I'm just asking for the rest of the tuition, which should be $900 if my promises come in, to send one more. I started with 6. If I can take 3, I feel like I did good. Can I get the help? I'm seeing it.
Yeah, he knows I'm going to help. I always support. You volunteered Byron and Charles right off the bat. Thank you, Reverend.
Again, before
Mr. Graves does a good job with youth, though.
The deadline is this Friday. I have Thursday night, midnight, to at least by email or however you do it by the computer. I'm not that wizard. But to get the money and reservations in.
All right. How much you need?
Right now, with the promises that I have, $900.
We'll find a way to make that happen.
Thank you.
You'll get it for Friday.
Thank you.
Mr. Graves.
Coach my Little League team.
Can I ask you? Yeah, we want to ask a question. I don't, would I be out of order if I go back? Ask a question. I just want to go back and ask something. No, Mayor, well, we had about the uniforms every month. We're going month by month. I know the last time, I just don't want when I take my clothes to the cleaners. And I just want to know when we had those other people that came and talked about uniforms. That's why you're going by
Because
month.
we can't tell if it's going to be better to do uniform rental or buying uniforms like we do a rental. So we're having to look at it in different, with different folks.